Welcome back to another fun-filled show. I'm your host, T. S. Blanchard, aka Free Blanche, aka Blanchard aka Blanchard Kruger. Today's title is Post Black History Month, a breath of fresh white air. Post Black History Month, a a fresh a breath of fresh white air. Oh, that's just so foolish. Oh my goodness. But let's jump right into it. Thank you, Queese, and thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm gonna start off today with just Pearly Things. What's up, Mika? And just Pearly Things. She had posted a video yesterday. I thought it was very, very interesting, and I thought it was good. I actually thought it was good. Um, I like the way she framed this conversation that she's about to have. What's up, Tierra? What's up, y'all? I'll give y'all maybe about 30 more seconds to come in before I play this video. But what's up, T? What's up, Lynn Bell? I was speaking with what's her? I am Taylor Chandler. She's been getting some pushback from black men now, and what she's going through. First, it was black women upset with her. Now it's black men upset with her, and what she's going through just proves my point. One of the first pillar of the destruction of the black community, the first pillar of destruction is black people lack emotional discipline, and they lack emotional intelligence, and they lack emotional intelligence, discipline. It was another one. Anyway, black people can't control their emotions. And you know that because how can y'all love Taylor Chandler last week, but now y'all don't like her this week? Anytime somebody's moods fluctuate like that, especially for a man, he just has a single mother spirit. He has woman spirit. Just going. He can't I can't think of who I don't like, who I like on Monday and who I don't like on Tuesday. Like I don't even make any sense. But again, it further highlights my point. And my point is that black people truly, again, it's not a IQ issue. It is a moral issue. With the children of Israel, think about it. The children of Israel knew God. They knew God was real. They saw miracles, and they still wanted to be decadent. It's the same spirit among black people. The children of Israel left Egypt, and they still wanted to worship the golden calf. They still wanted to think about the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments were everything they were doing. So again, this is the spirit of black people. They know what's right, but they want to do what's wrong. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. I'm sorry, that's what it is. But anyway, Taylor Chandler is going through it with the black men now because she's holding them accountable. And again, black men are very defensive. They are. Black men are very emotional. They are. They're very thin-skinned. They are, because they're most of them are raised by black women, and most of them are raised being catered to unnecessarily. And so most black men are weak because they have excuses. Most black men hard-headed. Most black men undisciplined. This is most black. Listen, I used to be black. I'm telling you from experience. Everything I talk about with black men, I once was. So I'm not talking from a perch somewhere in a tree. No, I'm talking from experience. Black men suffer from arrested development. They don't want to grow up. But why would you want to grow up if you got an excuse? Anyway, let's just get into what Just Pearly Things said. And Just Pearly Things, now listen, I know she looking at herself and see listen, Just Pearly Things, I hope she hears this one day. Listen, you are a plain Jane white woman, right? You are plain Jane. You are oatmeal with no sugar, no butter, no pet milk. You are vanilla ice cream. You are just plain. I don't know. You are a polo shirt with khaki pants. You are just a plain Jane. But guess what? There's nothing wrong with being a plain Jane. Just Pearly Things, because there's a lane for that. Most men want plain Jane women. They do. Most men do. But Just Pearly Things got that shot, though. That's what's messing her up in my eyes. To me, she got that shot. But anyway, aside from the shot, though, I think she's a decent woman. I do. And I think that she would be a good wife. I do. I just think she doesn't believe that she is wanted. I don't think she believes that she probably likes black men. Listen, Just Pearly Things. If you like black men, you are going to have a very tough go of this thing, because black men, for the most part, don't want to get married, and they sure don't want to marry no white woman, and they sure don't want to marry no plain Jane white woman. Now, Just Pearly Things, if you was 100 pounds heavier, you might have a chance, but you too tall and thin for the average black man to throw his life away. So I'm just telling you, you got to be obese and look crazy for the black man to dive in head first. I'm sorry, but I believe that Just Pearly Things is a decent chick, and I just want her to know that there's a guy out there that would marry you. It's just, you got to stop putting yourself down. Stop putting yourself down. Anyway, because what men don't like is when a woman puts herself down. It's unattractive. Like, you can be confident. It might not be your looks, Just Pearly Things, or your body, but it could be your mind. It could be your sense of humor. It could be your wit. It could be your business acumen. It could be your tenacity. It could be a lot of other things that men value other than just looks. But saying that you cooked and all this stuff, don't stop doing that. Because you say you're cooked, then when a guy looks at you, all you're going to see is a bag of boiled peanuts. I'm just telling you. So stop saying that. Stop saying you're cooked.
What up, guys? Welcome to my Coffee Talks. Today, I want to talk about some of my observations living in.
And I like the fact that Just Pearly Things comes on social media with no makeup. But again, she's doing this because she feels like she's not gonna get married. I know what her mindset is. I just want to tell her that there are a lot of guys that like you. Stop saying that you cooked. Because you say you cooked, all they're gonna see is a pot of boiled chicken, no seasoning, no nothing, just a pot of a chicken, just Miley Cyrus in a pot cooking and boiling. That's it. So stop saying you cook. Just Pearly Things. You have a lot of things to be confident about. It may not be your looks, your body, but other things that men value other than just looks and body. Okay, let's continue.
Different communities. I grew up in a predominantly white, upper middle class area, maybe middle class, upper middle class. I don't know. It depends who you ask, right? And then I moved overseas. And when I moved overseas, I lived in London, which is one of the most diverse places on the planet. And I really got to know deeply like African cultures. There's even like a Black American culture, Muslim culture. And I was in the East London, so it was basically anything but white. And you know, growing up, I always heard that white people don't have culture, right?
So in London, you have a West End and you have an East End. There's the song I like by Pet Shop Boys. It's called West End Girls. You know, I don't know if y'all familiar with it, but you know, it's just a very popular song. You know, I love 80s music, but it's a shot by Pet Shop Boys called West End Girls. Basically, the guys on the east side going to the west side of London to get the girls. The girls are more posh on the west side. They're more affluent, you know it is.
But when I lived in an area that was pretty much non-white, I worked with pretty much not white. I realized that white people do have culture, and there is stuff that is distinct to white people. So, and this is just my observations. You guys can take it or leave it. So, white men naturally have high status.
Let me stop right there. The reason why they say that white people don't have any culture is because they want you to adopt their culture. So in other words, it's almost like you're not a part of the cool kids. You can't sit at this lunch table. So in other words, it's like reverse psychology. Everybody knows white folks have culture. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. They just say it to get you to abandon your culture and adopt black people's culture or whoever else's culture, liberal, whatever, libtard. They want you to adopt a culture that's going to be self-destructive. That's what they want you to do. So when you hear them say you don't have a culture, what they're saying is destroy yourself.
You guys can take it or leave it. So, white men naturally have high status. They're usually the inventors of society. They're the highest earning groups. And when it comes to really the movers and shakers of society, it's a lot of white men, right? The country, the United States, was founded by white men. And white men just tend to be the most competent. Like if I was going to look at white men as a species, they would be the most competent species on the planet, right? They have the most Olympic medals. They have the most inventions, and they're always seen as these evil dictators. But really, when you get to know white men as a group, they're actually the most helpful group of people ever. Like, they always make fun of white people because we go, "Oh, I'm sorry, am I in your way? You're in my way." It's just we're very like polite,
And what Pearl is saying is 1,000% correct. You see, most black people don't spend time around white people other than either at their job or going to a business, to be a patron. Most black people don't have any kind of relation with white people. So me, myself personally, I went to school with white people all my life. I have white friends. So again, white people, the same things that you think black folks don't have, white people have. White people can dance, they can cook, they can do everything that black folks can do, white folks can do it. And so what she's saying is true. White men are very helpful. White men are dude, when white people like you, listen to me. When white people like you, you're a part of their family. When white people like you, you are a part of their family. Like they want to invite you here, want you that's just how they are. That's their culture. That's the culture. That's the culture. Now, that's been my experience. Most white people that I have actually dealt with, have been decent people. They just have. Never try to get over on me, never try to scam me. I'm just being honest. Am I saying that there aren't bad white people? It's bad everybody, though. And that's my point, though. My point is, if it's bad everybody, then why are white folks getting penalized? Think about it. Anything you can say about white people, you can say about anybody. So why do they get penalized for doing it? You see what I'm saying? Like, why do white people get penalized for doing what every other human being does? It's crazy. I told y'all, it's because they put white people on a God status. And if they aren't perfect, then it justifies everybody else doing wicked. I'm telling you, that's the psychology behind it. They put white folks at a status that's so high that if they fall a fraction from that position, it justifies all this chaos we see in the world. But if white people like you, you're a part of the family. And it's not even an afterthought. And listen and be excited to hear, this is my wife, this is my son. Like they're excited to have you meet their family. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, white men are the most helpful demographic on the planet. It's not even close. Black men are the most destructive. White men are the most helpful.
And like my dad growing up, he was a CEO, white guy, right? If he saw someone like with the groceries, like walking out of the store, he would go grab their groceries, put them in their car. Like, but you know, in other communities, you might think you're getting robbed, you know? And that's just how my dad was. And that's how a lot of white people are. And I grew up in a really high trust area. So like we could leave our doors open. Um, so I ended up moving to London. And the first year I'm there, I'm in a predominantly Black area. And what I've noticed being in a Black area was that even though they talk about like racism and oppression, a lot of times they emulate white people. Like Black women's wigs and stuff, like it emulates white women hair, you know? And a lot of times, like Black people, they are trying to get into the communities that white people like. White men naturally are high status in society. Maybe it's controversial, but they're naturally high status in society, but they do not care about high status. So, like,
listen, what she's saying is true. What she's saying is true. Black people talk about racism, but they always want to go to the spots where white people are, whether it be the restaurants, whether it be the places to buy clothes, the expensive high-end stores, whether it be the vacation spot. Like Black people always want to be around white people. Always. So what she's saying is true. And I'm going to say this. When a Black person has some money, everybody knows it. When a white person has some money, you probably ain't going to know it too much. Because most white folks, I know they got money, they act very normal. Very low-key, very normal, talking about sitting on millions and drive a truck. Like it's just, but if a Black person is a millionaire, they're going to let you know. Somehow, somebody going to let you know. They're going to let you know they got some money. So she's right. I've seen more white people that don't care about that status, that status than Black folks. Matter of fact, Black folks won't have it, won't have any money, but act like they do have money. White folks ain't doing that. Most white folks ain't doing that. Most white folks with money don't want nobody know they got money. They don't. Most white folks that got money don't want anybody to know they got money. Look at Bill Gates. Look at Bill Gates. I'm saying just look at Bill Gates. Man, I met Tom Brady one time. Tom Brady had on a flannel shirt and some dirty jeans and some Under Armour tennis shoes. Tom Brady. He looked like a regular white dude. Just like I'm talking about like a regular white dude just got off work. That's Tom. He looked like a regular white dude. This Tom Brady. He looked so. All the other players had on chains. They coming in. It's funny. It's funny. I was watching the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl they were in, not this past one, but the one before with Tom Brady. All the white players were coming into the game. The white players were wearing the team issued warm-ups, Nike warm-ups. Tom Brady came in a flannel shirt. But like the white players came in dressed normal. The Black players came in with shades on, chains out. And it was just, it was so crazy to see it. And this is back when I didn't know anything. I saw that. I saw the white players come in normal. Black players put on a show, grills in their mouth, diamonds, just, it was crazy. It was crazy. Angela said, I went to Haiti for a church revival. I didn't see no Black Americans there on vacation. Of course not. You know, Black folks going to Haiti?
There's all these places that are built with hopefully like the promise of getting in contact with these movers and shakers, like men in society, these high status men. But what you actually get in those like high-end restaurants and stuff, a lot of the time is men pretending to be high status men. Because when I think of like some of the highest status men I know, you would meet them at Home Depot, Culver's. Like, it's not these like fancy restaurants. Like those are for women, men trying to sleep with women and therefore emulating those high status men. And it's interesting, what I've noticed is no matter where I go around the world, everybody is trying to be the white guy. Like white women are trying to be their husbands. Like their husbands are the movers and shakers. And so many times, like the women take credit for everything the white men do. Let's take like Jeff Bezos. The fact that his ex-wife got half of his fortune, he has so much money, he probably doesn't care, right? But the fact that his ex-wife worked as like a secretary at his company and thinks she's entitled to half his fortune, that's incredible. And what she's trying to do is men like Bezos, she's trying to emulate his competence. And you see this from other communities too. Like, like the Muslims, to me, it was kind of incredible that they would feel so strongly about like Muslim heritage, but they were fighting so hard to be in England, like a white, like, I think by the time I left, England was a mostly Muslim area.
Notice what she said. Now, she's not connecting the dots for globalism, but it is, again, I was talking with a friend of mine recently that was in town, and she's not black, but she's not necessarily considered white. She's from one of those countries where she's not really white. It's like but anyway, but she basically had a lot of admiration for black people. And then she made comments like, white people did this and black. Anyway, so, but I tried to explain to her, I said, well, why is there no mass migration into countries that are of people of color? And then she kind of looked. I said, why aren't millions and millions of people flooding into Africa? If what you're saying is true, and all these other races have such great cultures and they sow this and they sow that, then my question is, why isn't anybody trying to flood into those countries? And I said, it's because white people have created the best society. And it's not even arguable. White people have created the best society. White people have created a society so good that it's to their detriment. They created and again, white people have created a society that best emulates God because God believes in free will. So in these Western countries, everybody has the same freedom. Think about it. Trans get the same rights as a straight person. Black, same rights as white. Men, same rights as women. Like, think about in a society, everything is equal. What you call fair, free will. You are allowed to do what you want to do because you have freedom. That is a Western, and I told her, I said, that is a white concept. Body autonomy, freedom is a white concept. I said, in them third world countries, they don't believe that. They don't believe in freedom. And I said, if you don't believe me, go to one of them countries and talk bad about, just talk bad about the police chief. Talk bad about the president or ruler, whatever. See what happened to you. I said, you are so privileged that you can't even see what society white folks have created to their own detriment. To their own detriment. And again, when I'm talking, I'm not saying, because you got to say this because people get stupid. I'm not saying that white people are perfect. I'm saying that the same thing you critique white people for, you can critique anybody for. If you tell me that white people are evil, I can counter and say, well, black people are evil. Like I can say about anybody. Hispanics are evil. Asians are evil. Like I can say it about anybody. That's what I'm trying to say, that all the critiques of white people can be of everybody else. You got folks in Africa that say, and they ask the folks in Africa how they feel being under the rulership of these quote unquote African leaders. Tell me what they say. No white folks around, still malnourished, still no resources, still no paved roads, still no electricity. Stimulated student said the worst thing the white man did was listen to his woman, let everybody into his country. That was his downfall. And it's true. It's true. They did. They did. Matter of fact, the Statue of Liberty alone is literally a statue of communism. Think about it. The Statue of Liberty is basically lighting a torch, telling everybody from these godforsaken places in the world to come over here and ruin the country. Because you know that, because you know she wasn't holding a torch up for white people. Because white folks know how to navigate. White folks, white folks got a, they got a navigator on the ship. They know, white folks got maps. White folks know where they're going. So her with that torch ain't for white people. It's not. Her with that torch is for everybody else, not white people. LARPing for Cash said, whites did fail. Their greatest weakness was kindness and diversity was the key to their future. Yes, it's true. It's true. Because the problem is that culturally, white people are decent. So it's easier to play on their, see, you can't do Africans like that. You can't play on Africans' kindness and diversity because they don't believe in it. You can't play on Indians' kindness and diversity. They don't believe in it. You can't play on Asians' kindness and diversity. They don't believe in it. The only people that believe in being kind and being diverse is white people. It's white people. That's why I said this is a white concept. It's a Western concept. So yes, white people did fail. They should have been mean. Now you got to go back and you got to revisit slavery, because for white people to say that black folks were lazy, think about that. Think about, out of all the stereotypes to give black people, they said lazy though. They said lazy. I promise you, if we could take a time machine, a hot tub time machine, or if we could take a collard green field tub of time machine back in time, we would see that black folks wasn't working that hard. They was not working that hard. Mountain Woman said, I married a Jamaican. She said it's not lazy, it's just island. Well, technically he ain't black. My homeboy was in Germany. He was telling me how clean the environment is and how quality the food was. He said, why can't we have that? I said, because we let everyone in without forcing assimilation. True. White people don't force assimilation. They don't. The quote, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, is from the poem, The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, a nasty. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that. But yeah, again, the task of being moral is on white people. It is. White people are expected to be multicultural, diverse, non-racist, helpful, kind. Like, white folks have the burden of being decent. Nobody else has that burden. Nobody else is tasked with being the most moral group on the planet. Nobody. And this is my point, camper kid. This is my point. If black folks built the country, why would lazy be a stereotype? It doesn't make any sense. Think about this. All the other stereotypes that have been given match black people. So they talk about crime, it's true. Not reading and writing on grade level, or doing math on grade level. It's true. Violent is true. Ghetto, it's like the stereotypes are true. So why is this one stereotype not true? I'm not buying it. It's true. Mountain Woman said, Jews aren't the problem. It's lazy Christians who think they are good without even reading the Bible. I mean, you make a good point. It's true. They sure don't read their Bible. They do not read their Bible. Let's continue.
You know, so it's like white people, white culture built this civilization, and then all the other cultures want to be a part of it, and then say that white people are bad, or our religion is bad, or this is bad. And it's just so interesting to me because I mean, there's a lot of different types of white people, but here's some things I guess I personally missed.
I'm gonna say this: white people oh, I didn't mean to put that. White people catch it. That's not true at all, but I see your point. What was I gonna say? Forgot what I was gonna say. Ah, shoot. Forgot what I was gonna say, man.
When I wasn't in a white area, over politeness, over helpfulness. Like when I lived in a black area, and this was in England, right? People would rob the co-op that I lived next to. They would just take food and walk right out. I'd never seen that in my life, ever.
Now, because she observed this, she's racist. Because she observed it, she's racist. Now, black folks, they're going to counter. They're going to say, well, you don't know what they was going through. They might have been hungry and starving. It's still wrong, though. Let me tell y'all something. Just because you are hungry does not give you the right to steal. Go in there and beg. Go to a shelter. Go to a food bank. Dear black people, just because you are uncomfortable in life does not give you the right to sin. I'm sorry. Just because you are uncomfortable in life, it does not give you the right to sin. So if you watch something on TV of George Floyd yelling out mama, and you go out there and you tear something up and steal something, it's a sin. You sinning. Dear black people, this is what I mean. The first pillar of destruction in the black community is a lack of emotional intelligence and a lack of emotional discipline. Just because you feel a certain way, black people, doesn't mean you get to act on it. You heard what Pearl just said, though. What she missed was over politeness, honoring the social contract, being helpful. She's way over in London on the East End where there are hardly any white people. And she said that black people were stealing every single day, which means it's a part of their culture to steal.
And it's just interesting because the real movers and like shakers in the world, they have the most status a lot of the times, but they care the least about it. And everybody's trying to emulate that status that white men and sometimes white women have. The white women I have my gripes with. But they'll never get it because white men's competence, like it just can't be emulated. Like if you follow, and it's not every white guy, but I've only met a white guy that could build a house with his bare hands, and I could confidently say that he could do it, right? They always know how to do their own plumbing. They always know how, even like the rich ones. Like,
what's funny about what she's saying is that's how older Black men are, being very resourceful. That's how older Black men are. Not my generation now, but that's really what older Black men were. You could fix anything, fix everything, basically do anything. Like my grandfather, my father, my uncle, they could like do anything. Like they could fix, like it's crazy. Like I'm like, where'd y'all learn this stuff? Like just to be able to fix plumbing, fix electrical, like just knowing how to do this stuff is amazing. But that's a generation lost. But white people, white men still do that because of their culture. When I told somebody that white people grew up in a climate and culture that was very harsh. And I discussed this with Chuck on when he was doing a show one time, talking about having to be resourceful because of where you live. This is why I say the closer you get to the equator, the easier life is. It's warmer. So if you grow up in a climate where it's hard to grow food and it's rough terrain and it's cold and it's gloomy, yeah, you got to be very resourceful. You got to practice great ingenuity. But if you grow up somewhere where it's always the coldest it gets is 80 degrees and the food's on the tree and the fish in the water, like what are you really going to invent and create? Nothing. The reason why Africans haven't created anything in Africa is because it's too easy to live. It's too easy to live. That's why. Let's continue. T said, my grandfather, my uncle, and my uncles built their own home. Yes, yes. Black folks did listen. Again, that was the American way. Listen to me. Before we had this concept of blackness, you couldn't tell the difference between, listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about a decent Black man, a decent white man. You could only tell them apart by appearance because what they did was the same. They were resourceful. They were leaders. They were, you know what I'm saying? So that's back in the day. Before this concept of blackness came about, you couldn't tell them apart other than skin. And I'd venture to say probably even for some Hispanics, I don't know about Native Americans, maybe them too, I don't know. But there was a time period where everybody did the same thing. It was a way of life. It was the American way. Did your family fight in World War II? I mean, my dad was in the military. My grandfather, my uncle, everybody's in the military. My grandfather, I know he fought in World War II. He fought in World War II, yeah. My grandfather did. And I think my dad, did he go to the Korean War, Vietnam? I don't remember. I don't know if he went to Vietnam. I don't know. I don't know.
They know how to do the plumbing, how to do the electric. In fact, it's like looked down upon in white culture to not do it yourselves, except the women. The men's responsibilities, but not the women. The women can still have nannies and I don't know, HelloFresh and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I might talk more about this later, but I've noticed white men have the most status in society. They care the least about it. Other communities, they try to emulate that status through look, going to events, going to high-end restaurants, but they can never really be a part of it because they cannot emulate the competence of white men. White women try to be white by taking white men's jobs, and a lot of times white men let them and they say have it and walk away. And I really didn't appreciate living in a white area till I didn't. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, like the video, and I'll see you next time.
Well, Pearl, they are going to call you racist. Pearl, they are going to call you racist. Even though what she said was not racism. They're going to call you racist. What's up, Cruise Missile? Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Charles, what's up? Black people are always lying about what they've invented, but they never claim to have invented the most important thing, a system. That is an excellent point you just made, Charles. Black people always lying about what they've invented, but they never claim to have invented the most important thing, a system. And that's how you know that the inventions are a lie. Because how did you create an invention without a system? How did you invent something without a system in place? See, this is how you know all this stuff is a lie, because you got to have a system in place to do this stuff. So even if we believe that Black folks invented all of this stuff, even if we believe it, you still got to have a system in place to do it. They never talk about the resources they had, the help they had. They make you believe that Black folks was inventing all these things in a slave shack. No, not the case at all. They don't like just Pearly things, because again, they don't like her because this is what I noticed. Black people are used to white people placating to them. They're not used to hearing white people voice their own opinion, take a different stance. Black folks are so accustomed to white people just bending over backwards for them to the moment a white person just offers a different opinion. Not doing, listen, we're not saying burn a cross in the front yard. We're not saying do a lynching. We're not saying anything, throw rocks at you. We're talking about a white person offering a difference of opinion, and Black people freak out. Black people freak out. They were saying that Trump got these white people bold because they didn't agree with you. Think about it. These Black folks were saying Trump got white people to be bold. All they were doing was disagreeing with you. You're not used to people disagreeing with you that are white. That's all. Blanche, are you familiar with the actual Justice Warrior? He got Black fatigue real bad. The actual Justice Warrior. Who is that? Let me see. The actual Justice Warrior. The actual Justice Warrior. Let me see. Oh, I see him. Hey, I'm already following him. That's funny. I'm already following him. That's hilarious. That's funny. Let's continue. Hope you're having a blessed day today. I've always liked Just Pearly things, though. I've always felt like she was a good chick. And the reason why, and I'm going to say this too, what helps women, in my opinion, a lot of times is when they don't get the attention that, let's say, a pretty girl might get, they develop much better character, and they're much more well-rounded. I've noticed, like, when women are just like regular women that, and again, I'm not saying that they're not good looking. I'm just saying they just under the radar, just plain. But when they don't get that attention or even seek it because they wasn't getting it, those women usually are very well rounded. They can hold a great conversation. They have good character because their incentive wasn't to just be idolized by a man or be sexualized by a man. Let's continue. Do you all want to see? I'm gonna let you all choose. Do you all want to see some black artwork, some black AI art videos, or do you want to see Bobby Hemmett talking about Farrakhan, or do you want to see white people talking about black folks moving to their neighborhood back in the 50s, or white folks talking about slavery? How much time do we have? You know what? Let's just go. Let's just see how many we can get through. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna just start with I'm gonna start with the black art. And you have a bunch of black folks talking about this is deep. They don't know what this means, just this is deep. Um oh, you said Keith. So I heard the tenderism guy, he left that restaurant. I actually have a video of Godfrey talking about it. I might not be able to get to it today, but I'm gonna address it on the next show. We'll play some more artwork for y'all. Oh, man, I'm like, man. Oh my goodness. This is black folks trying to be deep. That's all. Just trying to be deep. Utter foolishness. Thank you, JV Chanel. Those should be Glocks, not revolvers. I think they might be in Africa. That's why they're in Africa. You got black folks in the comment. I love us. I love us. I'm just like, just nonsense. Have y'all ever seen black art that did not revolve around race? Just some actual art independent of race and racism and all oppression? Now, I actually like this one right here because they couldn't read the books. They just said, let's burn it. Now, this is an art I really, they couldn't read the book, so they said, let's burn it. I actually like this. I like this one. I like this one. We can't read, so let's do the next best thing, just burn the book. They can't figure out what was it, a page? What's a page? What a letter? Just burn it then. Let's just burn it. So I like this artwork. This is more realistic right here. I like that one. Okay, let's go to the white people.
Can prove to the white man that he can live like the white man, then we will accept them.
And the only thing that scares me is the neighborhood all getting bad. And if we ever wanted to sell, naturally your house depreciation is color get in.
If they move in, the next step we have to accept is intermarriage.
We can be sociable with them in work. We can get along with them and joke with them.
Sure.
But when we leave our job and we're on our way home, we want them to go in their direction, and we can go in ours.
Homes in this Philadelphia suburb sell for $10,000 to $11,000, and the people of Fallcroft call them their dream houses.
In 1963, houses were, these are like townhouses, but $11,000. Crazy.
Until recently, it was all white. Then, Horace Baker, his wife, and little girl moved in.
Okay.
Look at that liberal. Look at that liberal getting choked. See, here goes the problem, right? Here goes the problem. The problem is what these white people are saying is not racist. You heard what the white guy said in the beginning of this. He said, if they can behave like us, they can be around us. So clearly, he's not basing it off of race. It's based off of behavior. And I told y'all this before. There is no such thing as racism. It doesn't exist. That man said, if they can behave like us, they can be around us, which means they don't have a problem with black people, but they know that black people are the most susceptible to propaganda and programming. On top of their horrible culture, they're also more likely to believe what's on TV. Nielsen did a report and said that black people in America watch TV 40% more than any other demographic in the world. Black people watch TV more than any other demographic in the world. Black people consume more social media than any other demographic in the world. So black people consume more TV than the entire planet by 40% and consume more social media than the entire planet. So white people know that if a lie comes across that TV screen, y'all are going to believe it. Y'all going to crash out. I don't want you around me either. But these white folks know that this black family moving in means another's going to follow, then another, and pretty soon you're going to see chicken wings on the ground. You're going to see a broken Smokey Robinson record on the ground. Trash, loud music, parties. We are listen, we know why we playing. Why are we playing? JV Chanel brought up a great point. Blacks talk about immigrants like this, by the way. True. The same way these white folks are talking now is how black folks talk about immigrants. It's true. It's true. It's true. What's crazy is Chris Rock's most famous stand-up is talking about difference between blacks and niggas. That's his most famous stand-up. Why is that his most famous stand-up? Why is Chris Rock's most famous stand-up him differentiating between black people and niggas? Why? Because the same thing Chris Rock was saying in that stand-up is the same thing these white folks were saying in 1963. But you called them racist. The same things that Chris Rock was saying in that famous stand-up is the same thing these white folks were saying about black folks in 1963, but you called them racist. When some black folks moved next door to me a couple years ago, I would go to my trash can. It would already be filled up with trash. Look outside, it was toys on the ground, ball, bike. And then the bounty hunters came looking for the daughter's baby dad. So they all had to leave. They all left to skip town. They was doing some over there because water was coming in from that side to my side and messing my floors up and stuff. They said they didn't do it. They said they didn't have no leaks. I'm just telling y'all. The dad was cool, but when the black folks moved in next door to me, it was an immediate dysfunction. Immediately, it was dysfunction. Well, I went over there. They said they didn't have a leak. I said, well, maybe the tub overflowed. Maybe they said, nah, look, they said, I didn't see. I don't know what they did, but the water came through. I mean, I had a leak myself. I knew I had a leak, but they did something. I don't know what it was. They did something. But they were renting the place out though. So you got to talk to the owner. You got to be able to prove that it's a big hassle. Not the same building, it's a townhouse. So it's like a 4 townhomes in a row for each section. So it's like 4 space, 4 space, 4 space. So it's just 4 in a row. They were on the end. I'm next to the end.
It sort of just seems like a nightmare because you were only trying to move into a home in which you'd purchased and that you weren't trying in any way to interfere with anyone else's life or their property.
But if white people are so racist and they're so bad, why would you want to move into an all-white neighborhood? Because most of these white folks actually moved to the suburbs to get away from you all. So you all do understand that these white people left the neighborhoods y'all were in to go be with themselves, and y'all still move with them? Why would you want to live around a bunch of racist white people? It doesn't make any sense. Let's continue.
Could have moved in 6 o'clock in the morning. They just got in there without anybody seeing them. But they waited till 5 o'clock at night. Early in the morning, they could have just snuck in there. Why didn't they do that?
Well, they're pushing too hard. They're pushing the white people too hard. And something's got to be done.
The newly appointed block captains of Delmar Village meet. Their purpose? To keep the people of the village informed and freeze out the bakers. No white in Fallcroft has spoken out in defense of the bakers.
We always fight when our backs are against the wall. I work with colored people. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I mean, the people working for me, but I can't see them living on my doorstep because they have proved nothing to me.
You heard what he said? He said the colored people that work for me are wonderful, but they have not proved to me that they can live at my doorstep. Again, that's not racism. He's talking about behavior, and you all know it's like What do you all think black folks do when they move into a white neighborhood? What do you think they do? Honestly. What do you think black folks do when they move into a white neighborhood? What do you think they do? Do they practice when in Rome, do as the Romans? No. They become extra black because they're around all white, so they become extra. So they'll put up a Black Lives Matter flag on the front porch, and they'll be blasting music and celebrating Kwanzaa. They just do extra stuff. It's crazy. Ms. Jackson said it's almost like an infiltration. It is, though. And again, these white people have said it's not about the color of their skin. It's about their behavior. And everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows this. These white folks were moving to the suburbs to get away from black people, and black folks followed them. What's funny about black folks to me is they can never be pro-black in the hood. They always got to be pro-black around white people. You know why? Because it's safe. Because white folks are tolerant. They will allow you to be pro-black around them. White people cash that bump music and act like thugs, play gangster, right? Charles, they gonna litter, of course. Mountain Woman said, my mom rented to a black man years ago when I was a kid, and he let his chickens become cannibals, and he had a bunch of gangsters at his place, which my brothers fought. I already know. And the problem is because, I'm gonna be honest with you all. Well, let me play this first. Let me play this.
I think they're getting paid to move in.
Any color that moves into this.
You heard the little boy said? Listen.
Them were living on my doorstep because they have proved nothing to me.
I think they're getting paid to move in.
Any color that moves into this.
Think about it. The reason why it seems suspicious is because why would you want to live around a bunch of white people? If you're black in 1963 and white folks are so racist, why would you want to move and put your family through the racism if it wasn't being done on purpose? You see, the problem is that you all have painted a picture, and the picture is that white people didn't know what was going on. White people knew. White folks knew back then that you all were being put up to these antics and these shenanigans. They knew. They knew somebody was pulling the strings. They knew this. So what you all were calling racism is actually just being aware. That's all. They just were aware of what's going on. Their little boy said, I think they're getting paid to move in here. I think they're getting paid. He's right.
Area, I'm sure, is only coming in here for one reason. That's to bust the neighborhood down, discourage the white person, stop the whites from moving into the area, and hope that it'll be converted to a Negro integrated development.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. What have the Negro race done for their country since 1960?
I know, but we've done a lot.
We have done an awful lot.
When the Negro... You heard what he said? Play it again. Play the last part again. Listen. Little boy, listen.
Paid to move in.
Any color that moves
to me because they have proved nothing to me.
I think they're getting paid to move in.
Any color that moves into this area, I'm sure, is only coming in here for one reason. That's to bust the neighborhood down, discourage the white person, stop the whites from moving into the area, and hope that it'll be converted to a Negro integrated development.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. What have the Negro race done for their country since 1960?
I know, but we've done a lot.
We have done an awful lot.
You heard what he said? The little boy said, I think they're being paid to move in this neighborhood. The other guy said they're doing it intentionally to bust down the neighborhood, to make it integrated, to discourage whites from living in the neighborhood. The last guy said, what have black people done since 1960? Notice he didn't say period. Notice he's acknowledging that black folks have done something for America. He said since 1960. Think about that. He's acknowledging that black folks have contributed to the country. So you can't say he's lying. He said since 1960. Why would he say 1960? Because that's when the civil rights movement was in full swing. That's why. And then I don't know who quoted it, but that somebody said black folks went from a trying race to a crying race. And this white guy can see the difference between how black folks used to be and how they were since 1960. Complaining, crying, begging, rioting, looting, protesting, doing nothing but beg, but asking America for everything, contributing nothing, but asking America for everything. Now you all are calling these white folks racist, and not one time did these white people mention the color of their skin. They mention all things linked to behavior. I keep telling you all, there is no such thing as racism. If you ask a person why they don't like a certain group of people, they're going to list a lot of things that deal with their behavior. Not race, behavior. These white folks said they do not mind living around black people just as long as those black people know how to act. They have no problem with black people if they know how to act. But you and I know, for the most part, black folks don't know how to act because they believe how they're acting is somehow being black, and that's the problem. They've linked their identity to bad behavior. Well, listen, y'all, I gotta go, but I will be back on Thursday. But I think I'm going to be back on Thursday with D, and then I'll come back and I'll finish up this breath of fresh white air probably on Saturday. But I'll be going live with D on Thursday. I might be going live with Crystal on Wednesday. And I'm probably going to start doing one live a week with somebody starting this weekend from now on. You know, just interview or go live with somebody once a week. But listen, you all, I love you all so much. D is the one, I think she helped produce Chad's MLK project. Usually when they have like a Q&A session, she's the young lady that's talking with him in the Q&A section. After the show, it's usually he and D talking. But anyway, I love y'all, and I will see y'all soon. Thank you so much.